Hello and welcome to News Across Nigeria. I'm Millicent Walker. On the program today, court remands former FCT Minister Bala Muhammad in Kuje prison for alleged abuse of office as former NNPC GMD Andrew Yakubu loses bid to quash interim forfeiture of $9.8 million. Dignitaries eulogize late sage Obafemi Awolowo 30 years after. And Lagos State government denies banning vehicle inspection officers from Metropolis as agency undergoing reforms. Well, we begin with the Adeleke family as they have shunned the Coroner inquest into the death of Senator Isiaka Adeleke, backing their resolve not to be involved in the process with action. Osun State Governor Mr. Ofer had on May the 3rd ordered the inquest amid controversy over the senator's sudden death. The coroner's inquest, headed by Magistrate Olusegun Ayilara, had on Tuesday invited two of the late senator's siblings, his brother, Dr. Deji Adeleke, and sister, Mrs. Dugbe Adeleke Sani. It also invited the State Commissioner of Police, the Chief Medical Directors of Lautech Teaching Hospital and Bickett Hospital, as well as the Executive Secretary of Ede South Local Government. While the Adeleke family shunned the inquest, others invited showed up and the inquest began sitting on Wednesday. Adeleke was the first civilian governor of Osun State and died at the age of 62. Mr. Bala Muhammad, former minister of the FCT, has been remanded in Kuje prison for alleged false declaration of assets and also for alleging collecting bribe amounting to 550 million naira. The former minister is being investigated for failure to disclose property at Admiral Mike Akibe Street, Jabi, Abuja, and for declaring a property in Kaduna as an undeveloped plot of land, whereas it's a fully built house. He also declared that a house situated at C-Tech Kwara House belonging to one Abubakar Abdul Mohammed was for him. The former minister is also alleged to have conferred corrupt and undue advantage on associates by allocating duplexes valued at 314 million naira to them through the Presidential Task Force on Sale of Government Houses. The presiding judge, Abubakar Talba, ruled that his application for bail be adjourned to the 12th of May.
The plea was taken today, and we are very happy that this matter has finally come to court. Because for 49 days, they detained a Nigerian citizen without trial. Even when we obtained an order of court for his release, they did not do that. Now, they intended to bring him to court, and they detained him for another 6 days before bringing him to court, which is another illegality. He is entitled to bail. Now, this is a man who is presumed innocent by the law. They have arraigned him, they've come with all manner of allegations, which, looking on the face of the charge, there is nothing substantial there to prove. And we are prepared to defend this matter. We are very prepared. So now we brought the application that he should be granted bail. One is his entitlement, that's the provision of the Constitution, and he's a responsible citizen of this country. Even as admitted by the prosecution, he's a a prominent citizen of this country. We are saying that he will not jump bail. He has responsible people to take him on bail, and that in this special case, he should even be granted bail on safe recognizance. So these are the applications and the requests we place before the court.
The issue before hand is so endemic. We want to use our procedure. Everybody should adhere to the procedure. You cannot say come to court and just from there you go. But the proper thing, the court knows what to do, and the ACJ has empowered us. So it is our prerogative to oppose bail. If bail is granted like on the platter of gold, he may not suffice for his trial, and that will affect our own statutory mandate.
A federal high court in Kano has dismissed the application filed by a former managing director of the NNPC, Andrew Yakubu, seeking to quash an interim order of forfeiture secured by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Justice Zainab Abubakar said that the court has jurisdiction to hear the case, contrary to the argument by Mr. Yakubu's counsel. The judge also ruled that the application seeking to set aside the case lacks basic legal framework and that the EFCC is competent, according to Section 29 of its Act, to seek the order of interim forfeiture. The FCT had on February 13 secured a federal high court order on the forfeiture of the over $9.8 million retrieved from Mr. Yakubu's house in Kaduna. Well, with an infrastructure deficit of over $2 trillion hanging over the nation's neck within the next 3 decades, Nigerians want to see the country's treasure managed properly. Recent discoveries of stolen funds hidden in various apartments in the country have unveiled the rate at which resources may have been plundered by those meant to judiciously administer it. Our correspondent Chris Elams has more.
At the inception of this administration, President Muhammad declared that over $100 billion of public funds stolen were held in foreign accounts. Amidst the struggle to fix infrastructure deficit in the country due to paucity of funds, recent revelation shows how much of damage had been done to the nation's treasury. The $50 billion found at the Ikoyi apartment, $10 million hidden in a slum in Kaduna, the $200 billion pension scandal, $16 billion alleged power scam, the $12 billion oil windfall are only sad reminders of the rot in our system, which, according to University Don Dr. Ashiru, has been part of us since the pre-colonial days.
Talking about embezzlement in government, we also recall that the Foster Sutton Commission that was set up in 1956 indicted a number of leading political office holders, particularly in the Western region, when it has to do with, the propriety of the handling of the funds of the African Continental Bank. Quite a number of leading politicians at that time were indicted for corrupt tendencies. And also in 1962, the Coca Commission also indicted a lot of leading political officers in the Western region.
According to American scholar Warren Bennis, leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. This appears to be an attribute far from our leaders. Clinical psychologist Francis Akinkumi provides an insight into the mind of an average corrupt leader.
People whose conscience are poorly developed are more vulnerable into taking this type of maladaptive behavior into practices. For instance, people who are narcissistic personality disorders, who have this trait, they are individuals who are never concerned about the feelings of others. They are always centered on their own personal fulfillment. And of course, at most period in time in their life, they are always grandiose and they want to be seen by others as somebody that is relevant and someone to be admired.
With over 170 million followers watching the scene and probably vulnerable to being influenced, veteran journalist Jimmy Disu thinks more needed to be done in fighting corruption in the country than merely exposing the culprit.
Our approach to corruption by just condemning it at all times and exposing it is not the solution. We must find a way where those who have legitimate earnings can live at least an average comfortable life. Look at what is happening to the pensioners, for example. How does that encourage somebody who is already working in government when he knows that, look, the day you leave the government, okay, it will take you 3-4 years to get your pension. The pension is not going to, even what you are earning while you're still working cannot take you home, talk less of a pension. Every human being would look for an alternative. Let's be adults about this thing.
Moral bankruptcy in leadership, the dearth of needed infrastructure, place serious limitation on human capital development and our inability to provide answer to the question of how long this would continue cast a dark shadow over the nation's drive to move forward and the future of the generation yet unborn. Chris Elams, Channels Television News.
And when news across Nigeria returns, some Nigerians still cast doubt about the idea of missing Chibok schoolgirls. Do join us again for more.